Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Boom. So we're going to talk about muscles and me being a personal trainer and why you should get a personal trainer and why you should get me as your personal trainer as well, because like this is one of my manuals, right? This is my exercise referral manual that I got given from my personal trainer tutor. So the thing is, I'm not allowed to show you anything in this book because it says here, no part of this document should be published elsewhere or reproduced in any form without prior permission from Active IQ. So anyway, I could just take photos and just post them on Reels and show you stuff, but I'm not allowed to, right? And I wouldn't, because I spent $4,000 doing that. So anyway, we're going to talk about like how the fitness industry like fills you full of bullshit all the time and why they do it. So in this book is mostly diet. So I ended up having to do 2 courses, personal trainer level 3 and then exercise referral. And this book basically goes on about how to cure injuries and how to fix people's problems with diet. So all that stuff you hear about diet being the #1 cure for most ailments is true, but you won't find that out until you spend money, basically. So that's the crack there. So anyway, we're going to talk about something that's on a much more deeper level, because obviously I like to learn more than what's in this book. And the funny thing about this book, right, guys, is my personal trainer tutor gave me this book and said to me, don't tell anyone I've gave you this book. And the reason why I think he did that is because he knew I'd read it. He knew I'd read that back to front, and he knew I would take all that information in and pass it on to my clients. Most people unlearn what they've learned when they learn things, you know what I mean? If you learn to drive, most of the time you unlearn it. You'll be driving around without your seatbelt on, you know what I mean? You'll be driving around like eating sandwiches or whatever, and like driving around just doing things you shouldn't be doing, you know what I mean? Because that's because you've unlearned what they've taught you in your test. They even do it like when they tell you like, oh, the driving instructor, I'll tell you, he'll just say, oh, just do what I say. When you've passed it, you can off and do whatever you want. As long as you abide by the... Well, in fact, most people don't. That's why they're all out there driving and that still. So anyway, lessons will be learned. So myostatin is a protein which inhibits muscle growth through a thing called TGF-beta, transforming growth factor superfamily. It's a gene, right, that's in your body that prevents you from getting muscles. And some people have a mutation in this gene which allows them to grow bigger muscles. And one of the myostatin is encoded by the MSTN gene. And this gene is basically mutated in animals like the Belgian blue bull. And that is why it's a massive cow. And this is the interesting part, right? So when an animal is born with a myostatin gene editing mutation, it gets a condition called muscular hypertrophy, right? So that's where the word hypertrophy comes from. So when you hear people like Jeff Nippard talking all his shit online saying about hypertrophy training, it's not hypertrophy training. Hypertrophy comes from the condition of people having abnormal amounts of muscle without training. You know what I mean? So obviously hypertrophy is linked to the muscle growth, but it's only muscle growth that you get when you don't train. You know what I mean? So like I was talking in another video about some kid at school who had an abnormal 6-pack above everybody else. That is it, or muscular babies. So muscular babies who are muscular without training is muscular hypertrophy, right? So when you hear people going on, I'm doing hypertrophy training, you're not. You're not doing hypertrophy training at all. That's a condition that is related to the gene being manipulated or mutated. And then we're going to get into the opposites of that. So muscular dystrophy or sarcopenia is age-related muscle loss. And that is related to fast twitch muscle fibers. So fast twitch muscle fibers are the ones that I've spoke about before, where if you drop something like this pen and I manage to catch it like that. So that's my fast twitch muscle fibers, right? So I'll see if I can do it without even looking. So I can't, yeah. So I drop it from up there, catch it there. That's fast twitch muscle fibers, right? They come in an emergency. So if you've ever heard Eddie Hall talk about this woman who lifted a car off her son, he used that in his head when he did the 500 kilo deadlift. So he imagined he was picking up a car from his son, and he tapped in to them fast twitch muscle fibers that are used as an emergency, right? So you have multiple types of slow twitch muscle fibers, and you have multiple types of fast twitch muscle fibers. Fast twitch muscle fibers type 1 and type 2, or type A and type B, you can call them. So type A are they come in when the slow twitch muscle fibers are exhausted, or they come in when you just do explosive exercises, like a 500 kilo deadlift. And they're also coming in an emergency, right? So this is the interesting part, because we're talking about the gene MSTN, and I asked ChatGPT if you could manipulate this gene or change your DNA structure in order to block myostatin so that you can build bigger muscles. And guess what ChatGPT said? Yes, you can. So gene editing, CRISPR-Cas9, the RNA interference, right? So the gene editing is obviously way beyond my level of knowledge. But the RNA interference is the most interesting one, because RNA, if you remember, was something that they used in the vaccine, right? So this is why a lot of people have developed what's called exercise intolerance, because the vaccine has messed with your DNA, and it'll be messing with this gene editing CRISPR-Cas9, right? Through RNA interference, right? It's called a silencer. It silences the genes that you need to be enabled to perform. So I touched on this on the other video where we talked about sick of saying air. Stop saying air. Air. Right? We touched on this with the weight loss drug, right? What's the weight loss drug again? Ozempic. Yep. So top tip anyway, if you're trying to think of something, don't go because you just need to be silent and then it'll come out, right? So you'll see that a lot in my videos because I always do it. So anyway, the RNA interference you can manipulate with another protein called follistatin, right? Which is a natural protein that inhibits myostatin. So myostatin inhibits muscular growth, and follistatin inhibits the production of myostatin. So when I mentioned people like Jeff Nippard and all these top level fitness influencers, the reason why they just talk so much BS is to hook you in and to think that if you just do what they do or follow their diet or watch their videos that you're going to get muscly as well. And 9 times out of 10 you don't. You know what I mean? It's like all these rich people like Diaries of a CEO, Stephen Bartlett and all them. And Gary Economics I've been watching a little bit as well because there was a podcast between the two of them. These guys are millionaires, and a lot of people ask them, they say, well, how do I become a millionaire? And they don't tell you And the reason they don't tell you is because they don't want you to be a millionaire. All millionaires, right, want to... So there's a thing I'm going to press on you, right? So when I'm running, and I've run 20k today, it becomes not enough. So 20k is not enough. And then it becomes 40k. And then 40k becomes not enough.